I want to take a few minutes talking about another issue of enormous consequence, that artificial intelligence.
To talk to you about the potentially catastrophic risks of AI.
AI too is part of this crisis.
Incredible things for humanity. That's the promise of AI.
We all live in the most unusual time ever. And the reason it's true this time is because of AI.
And I think for mundane intellectual labor, AI is just going to replace everybody.
Artificial intelligence. It's something I'm sure all of you have encountered in one way or another. Maybe you have come across it at your workplace, or maybe your friend Steve excitedly showed you how he quote-unquote made a picture of Shrek bending over a certain president in the White House using some AI model he found online. Personally, I am not the biggest fan of AI in general, but I do believe it has certain use cases that can turn out positive. The one place I do not believe AI has any place whatsoever is the creative fields. As a graphic designer by trade, I try to minimize the amount of AI I use to give my creativity full reign. But I am sad to inform you that AI might be showing up in your favorite animes sooner rather than later, if it hasn't already. A lot of anime fans have recently started to openly talk about how they, for the most part, disapprove of the usage of AI in the anime industry. I, for one, share their opinion. But what sparked this sudden increase in people speaking out on this topic? The release of the much anticipated third season of the popular anime One Punch Man is the root cause of the current discussion around this topic, if you were to ask me. Many viewers were quick to notice certain things in the third season that caused concerns to rise, aside from the abhorrent animation quality in general, that is. Classic AI issues that are still present in the latest models today, such as additional fingers, additional body parts, artifacts that don't belong, have all been spotted in the third season of One Punch Man. If this turns out to be the case, I think the results of AI usage in the animation industry will impact the industry far more negatively and on a much larger scale than we might think. And you might have noticed I said, if this turns out to be the case, because I am not fully convinced that these things we saw in One Punch Man Season 3 were definitively AI. Allow me to explain why I am not fully convinced. The specific errors we see in this scenario, like the 6 fingers or the 3 boobs on a female character, look like animation errors to me that simply went unnoticed. And you are probably going to argue that it would be impossible to miss such obvious things, right? But you would be surprised how easy it is to miss these things when your schedule is tighter than a nun on Christmas Eve. These animators are oftentimes under such stress due to deadlines, horrible working hours, and ill-begotten managers breathing down their necks. It is incredibly easy to miss something small, like 6 fingers in a 2-second animation, when you need to finish another 20 of those by the day's end. To me, the things we see here seem more like genuine errors than AI-generated content, but I can't be 100% sure on this since I was not there when they were made. But for the sake of the argument and this video, let's go with that these errors were in fact due to AI being used in this anime. I have said it before and I will say it again. I am vehemently against the usage of AI in the creative industry for a variety of reasons. Some of these reasons are more so personal, and some of these reasons are out of concern for the industry as a whole. I have created this little mood board here to go over some of the things that I wrote down. The starting point was the subject AI usage in anime, which is supposed to be in a negative connotation, just to be clear. This mood board contains 4 different types of entries. Green for positive, red for negative, yellow for counter-arguments, and grey for comments that don't really fit one of the other categories 100%. Do keep in mind that this is a mood board of sorts, so it is primarily based on my opinion, but I did try to be as objective as I could be given the context. So if you do end up having differing opinions, please do not be afraid to share them with me and the community at large. I actively promote discussion, and I think it's a good thing to have people with different opinions. The world would be incredibly boring if everybody just agreed with me. But let's get started. Since the context of my personal stance is rather negative, I started with adding some possible positive things that AI might be able to do to bring the animation process into a more, positive outcome. One aspect I think that AI could potentially and pretty, genuinely help is reaching those killer deadlines more effectively. As you can see on my moodboard, I wrote down that animation timelines being too tight is a pretty strong counter-argument to my statement that AI usage in anime is a bad thing. To support the claim that AI can actually help out in this scenario, I thought up two possibilities that AI could, bring to the table here. AI can be used to speed up workflows, and AI can be used to allow one person to do more work in less time. Both could end up being very helpful to the quality of life, especially of the employees themselves. But I'll be completely honest, I've been at this mood board for like 3 days now, and I cannot think of any other positive aspect that I could put here. So as a result of that, if we look at my entries on the negative side of this subject, we have the following. AI is not at all environmentally friendly. Some people might care about this more than others, but I do think it is a genuine thing to take into consideration. It's a strong tool, or it could be a strong tool, but if we're destroying the entire environment because we want to generate a picture of Shrek jerking off, I'm not so sure that it's a good thing. And then there's also the fact that talented individuals might lose their jobs because to many companies, profit pretty much outweighs people. And I'm sure this is not the case everywhere. For example, over here in Europe, I think there's plenty of companies that do actually appreciate their employees. If you're an American, you're shit out of luck, just being completely honest there. But these people just being driven out because profit is more important than the livelihood of these people is what I believe to be a genuine outcome of AI taking over these types of jobs. And speaking about AI doing jobs, AI does not actually create anything new. It just mixes and mashes whatever it finds suitable in its dataset based on the prompt it's given. And even today, with very clear instructions, AI is not at all capable of keeping a consistent quality and art style for longer than a couple of seconds. Of course, exceptions will be there, but a good example of this is the recent Coca-Cola ad, which I'm sure some of you must have seen. For context, this was an ad that was created completely with AI, and I believe I read somewhere it had over 100,000 prompts. But you can just see so many discrepancies in this entire video, textures don't match, the size of the trucks keeps changing from scene to scene. The animals, they don't look exactly the same, the art style's different, right? The storyline is, if you want to call it a storyline, I hope that I can better explain my point with this, in that to the untrained eye, it might look decent, right? But if you even take 2 minutes to just pan through the video, analyze a couple of frames, you will notice that it just doesn't add up. And this does move on to another one of my negative points here. It's that animators will have to see their work defiled by a tin can that just believes it knows better. And speaking about creativity, creativity is completely lost due to AI picking the choices for us, resulting in a lack of personality in the end product. Do note that this would only be applicable if the actual story is, also written by AI, the style frames are made by AI, the mockups are made by AI, the actual animation is done by AI. If there is no human interaction in the entire process, there's just no creativity. There's no creativity there, there's no personality there, there's no identity there. It's just a product which could be any other product made, right? It would be like trying to differentiate between 1,000 isekai animes with just one single line of the plot. You're not going to be able to, because it's the same. It's so devoid of... It's devoid of life, really. I think that's a good way to say it. But a simple way to summarize the way that I and a lot of other people feel about AI in the creative industries is as follows. AI is where creativity goes to die. And I truly do stand by this. AI bros will consistently tell us that AI is the future, and for some industries I can definitely see the use of it all. The medical field, for example, could benefit greatly from smart AI models which can assist or combat a doctor's diagnosis, for example. The more possibilities of saving a person, the better. But for creative industries such as art, photography, animation, design, music, and even some other industries like, for example, education, AI just bastardizes that which we humans excel at, creating things with personality and intent. Would you rather have an amazing picture that tells a story of how the photographer traveled the world, sat in the rain for days just to get that perfect shot of a bird gliding through the rain? Or some cheap imitation that was generated by a fucking clanker at the cost of the environment, which is at a shitty resolution, a low DPI, in RGB color space, and needs to be upscaled multiple times, completely ruining the image in order to be print ready, by the way. Graphic designer talking. The answer is very easy and very clear to me. I personally do not want anything AI related to be in the creative fields or even anywhere close to it. These fields are some of the few spaces we humans have left to truly express ourselves, and I would prefer it stay that way, human. We asked ourselves whether we could, and the results are questionable, to be honest. Now we should ask ourselves whether we should. And the answer to that question is yours to give. If you are like me and you don't want to see any type of AI in the creative fields, be sure to be vocal about it. However, don't go harassing the poor sods that just try to keep their jobs in the industry. Just be vocal about not wanting AI to be used in general. And by the way, no hate to people that do want to see AI in the creative fields. I entitle people to their own opinions, and I choose to respect people even if I do not agree with them. So if you're watching this video and you're somebody who actually has arguments that, you would like to see AI be in the creative fields, be sure to drop them in the comments down below, and I promise you I will just give you a fair discussion. I do not like to belittle people and just call them stupid, call them dumb because their opinion differs from mine. I'd much rather have a conversation to see if either my or your opinion could change. Thank you to the people who watched this entire video through to the end. This was a video I have wanted to make for a good while now. This subject is something I am pretty passionate about, like both on a personal and professional level. So if you enjoyed this type of content and wish to see more of it in the future, please let me know by liking the video, subscribing and leaving a comment. And if you did not like the video, also let me know what you didn't like about it. I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you for watching.